Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Losang, I just said that I cannot appear somehow, so this is how I look now.
Already half Dharmakaya. Only the voice left, body already gone. How wonderful. Not just joking.
Shantideva, chapter 10.
Yeah, right, finished. Shantideva finished. Well, being on the path of normal learning. Yeah, on the 5th path. Now we're still a little bit below. Hi, Tom.
Hi, Anila. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm fine. Thank you. We're slowly preparing for Losang, the Tibetan New Year, which will be on Friday.
Very good.
Yeah. And so somebody brought me lots of kapse. Kapse are these kind of fried Tibetan cookies. If you live in Dharamsala, you eat them until May because everybody makes so many. But here in the West, it's difficult to get them. So I was quite happy that I found somebody who is making them.
I actually miss a lot Tsampa. Tsampa porridge.
Yeah. I mean, Tsampa you get the whole year round. Kapsa you only get New Year.
Oh.
It's very traditional, and then they start already. 3 weeks before they start to make kapse, and you have to fry them in oil. So the whole of Dharamsala smells like McDonald's or something, because everybody is frying their cookies in oil.
What's סופגניות?
Huh?
Like our Hanukkah סופגניות.
Yeah, exactly. A little bit like this, but they're more thin and more hard. I don't know if you have something in the Jewish tradition. Here in Switzerland, we have special things we make for Carnival. So they're very similar. They're also very thin. Well, I'll go get them and show you how they look.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Since maybe we're a little bit waiting, and Tom, you can do your speech.
My speech.
Yeah.
Right then. Okay, so I'll do that shortly. אז שוב ברוכים וברוכות הבאים לבאות לשיעור של אני לוסנג תלמידי הדרמה, זה נושא הספר של שנטדבה, הפרק השישי, נושא הסובלנות, ונראה שהיום אנחנו קצת מצומצמים, אבל עדיין אנחנו נשמח לשמוע מה שיש לאנילה להגיד ולספר לנו. אני רק אעלה כאן בצ'אט כמה מהקישורים הרגילים שאני משתף איתכם בכל פעם לגבי הדנה ולגבי האתר של ידידי הדרמה עם כל הפעילויות והערוץ היוטיוב שלו, שם גם כל השיעורים של אנילה נמצאים שם מוקלטים, כולל זה. וגם יש שם את המייל שלי למקרה שמישהו ירצו לשאול שאלה, לברר משהו, להציע הצעה וכו', לפתוח להצעות, ונשמח לעזור בכל עניין שהוא. Yes, thank you. That's it. Thank you very much, Anila, for coming and teaching us.
You are very welcome.
Okay. What's those cookies?
Yeah, right. So these are the ones that go on the altar. And they, look, it's like this, they're kind of open. They're like a boat almost. Can you see?
Yes.
So you have 10 of them, I think, or even more. And you put like 2 and 2, and then you put like this, and then again like this, and then so it makes like a mountain. Yeah, so these are the ones that go on a traditional Losang altar. And then you have these little ones that they, that you make, that are being fried also. Yeah, maybe some memories coming for people who have been to Dharamsala at Losang. Okay, so, but then let's start again with some shamatha meditation that hopefully you've been maybe visiting Glenn Swenson's course. So, you know, you have some, how to say, some hints how to do this. For me, always, I think the first thing that we Westerners need to learn is to sit without having a need to do something. Because we're such doers, and this is so difficult. And then if we can't do that, then the mind cannot calm down. And it cannot, when it's not calm and relaxed, it cannot become stable. When it's not stable, it cannot become clear. So for me, this is one of the most difficult things, you know, not to trying to sort out problems or make plans for the future or whatever, just to sit and keep the attention or the awareness on the object. It's simple, yeah, it's very simple. But it's kind of difficult to do. This is the problem. And it seems, you know, our mind likes to be entertained. So it seems boring. And then we you know, we don't feel like doing it. But if you can bear the boredom, then the mind will become calm and stable. And then you'll get to a place where it's really happiness and where it's spaciousness and where it's openness and everything is okay. Even if outside the things are not okay, and you can always go back to this place. It doesn't mean that one part of your mind is not kind of journeying and going, you know, and rebelling. But I think what one notices with this, with time, I shouldn't really be telling you these things. You should be able to recognize them yourself. This is because when you recognize it, you go like, wow, yeah. But anyway, I'll tell you. It's my job to tell you. You see, we are sometimes happy, we are sometimes sad, we are sometimes afraid, we are sometimes full of courage, we're sometimes totally open, we're sometimes very narrow. But the awareness, the one who sees this one is always the same. Do you see what I mean? And then we start to see, there is a part in me that is always calm, open, neutral, you know, not agitated, not frightened, not totally going overboard with joy and happiness, just the watcher, yeah, the one who is watching. And then you start to feel, this is my place of refuge. This is where I can go, even if everything else is kind of not the way I want it to be. And then, you know, when you look with this watcher or with this awareness, when you watch what is going on and you're not feeding it with thoughts, you're not judging it, you're not, because also sometimes you see, when we don't want to have something, we're pushing it away, we give it a lot of power, we give it a lot of energy. If you just watch it, it's the same like children. I think maybe it doesn't work all the time, but very often it works. You know, instead of going, blah, 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 stop this and stop and do this and this and that, you're just watching them. And not just with children, sometimes also with grown-ups. You know, when somebody starts to get a little bit aggressive with words and all this, you just watch them. Totally relaxed, but totally aware. Very often they stop. You know, because if you give them arguments, especially the children these days, I mean, come on. It looks like they don't understand anything. They have to be explained everything. Like the parents talk to the children. I don't know how it is in Israel, but definitely in Switzerland, the parents talk to their even small children. You know, they explain why now they have to put on the jacket because it's cold outside and it's snowing and this and this and that. And then, of course, the children talk back because all we can talk about is relative truth. So there's always a yes, but. Yeah. So this is what I mean. So if you give them arguments why they should do something that they don't want to do, they will give you just as many good arguments back why they shouldn't do what you want them to do. I don't know if you have ever noticed it. Netta is smiling. Have you ever noticed that? Yeah. Yeah. So this is how it is with relative truth. There's always a yes, but, and then the other side, you know, can be just as reasonable. Okay, so we try it and we just have a straight back, totally relaxed, but awake. You know, if you can bring these two aspects into your meditation, not wanting anything, not expecting anything, not having to be in a certain way. Let go of all expectations. What should happen in the meditation, and make yourselves comfortable, have a straight back and relax. And you can also, relax with your out breath, for example. When you breathe out, you can breathe out through your mouth. That sometimes does something. And to already at the beginning, to be aware, how is the body? What's happening in the body? But without judging. Then when you breathe out, thinking that you give some space, you become more spacious, more open to whatever is there or whatever wants to come. And then before we start again, so it doesn't become too boring, really check in your own mind, your own opinion. Don't listen to what I say, don't listen to what the Buddha says, don't listen to what Glenn says. You listen to yourself. What do I want? What is important for me? How do I want to be? So that we know which direction we want to go. So that so that it makes sense that we're sitting down and trying to make the mind relaxed, calm, and then clear. And if your motivation is in accord with what the Buddha says, then it becomes very meaningful. I want to make my mind relaxed, calm, stable, and clear, so that I can liberate myself from being under the control of negative emotions. Then, only then, my suffering will be finished, because I will not produce the causes anymore. Why do I want to do this? Because I have this potential of being able to explain and show that to everybody else, because they all have this potential. And this is why I'm doing this. That's a very high goal, goes very far. So that is according to the Buddha's teachings, but you can make your own motivation so that we are clear what we want. If you just want to have a good time in your meditation, it's not worthwhile to make all this effort. Because having a good time and being well, this is a side effect of it if you're not looking for it. But only if it's not the real motivation. If the motivation goes much further, I want to be able to live my potential of non-attachment, non-aggression, non-ignorance, but love, compassion, and wisdom. So we do that for 10 minutes. If thoughts are appearing, make a conscious choice not to follow them. We have a choice. We are aware. And also don't forget to bring kindness into the meditation. Kindness towards yourself, to take the time to train the mind, which is not easy to do. So appreciate that, honor that. And then again, maybe for the last few minutes of the meditation, we can start again with or practicing Tonglen in a kind of mild way. So you can think of somebody that you like very much, somebody that you feel very comfortable spending time with the person, somebody who also appreciates you, somebody who sees you, somebody who respects you, takes you seriously. And even if they can, trying to help you if you need help. So we can see that, something that we have that we dislike, let's say jealousy or aggression or fear or whatever, whatever unhelpful emotion that you think you have, and you see that this friend has it as well. And then you think, now me at the moment, I'm not so important. What is important is that this other person be free of that unhelpful emotion. That if this person would have a choice, if I would have a choice, we would not choose to be under the control of these unhelpful emotions. And then you think you want to liberate that other person from this negative emotion as you're breathing in. And you can breathe it in the form of black smoke or something, other thing that, whatever picture comes is fine. And you think that your compassion, wanting this person to be free from suffering, is like a filter in your heart, a source of light or a filter. And as this blackness, as you breathe it in, goes through it, and when you breathe out liberation from being under the control of this unhelpful emotion or whatever. Again, Tonglen, you can be so creative. Use your own words, use your own pictures, images. Like, for example, if it's not too threatening, we can think, what is producing these unhelpful emotions? Is this false sense of me or I, that we think we are the center of the universe? And then my problem becomes very big, and I don't see that other people have the same problem. And I get stuck in the problem, and there's no compassion for myself, really sitting down and asking myself, what would I need right now? That this I, this me, just rebels, feels sad, horrible, angry, aggressive, whatever. So you can think breathing in the suffering of somebody else voluntarily is a very good antidote for this exaggerated sense of I or me. And you can give it whatever form you want to give it. And when that black stuff kind of hits it, it just shatters, it just explodes, it just disappears. And then our goodness comes out, the goodness that is not afraid of being the friar, for example. Is not afraid of being kind, not afraid of being exploited, taking advantage of, just wants to give. And we have so much of this if we're not afraid. Like Leora was saying, like our self-centered attitude is like a stone, a heavy stone that kind of covers a spring with beautiful water, so the water cannot come out. And so when we voluntarily take the suffering of somebody else that we have anyway, we also have jealousy and these unhelpful emotions, it kind of destroys that stone, shatters it, makes it into dust. And then woof, the goodness comes out, inexhaustible, born of light, and we give it to the other person. We give liberation from fear, liberation from confusion, liberation from aggression, greed, jealousy, whatever. Just try it out. If it seems too difficult, then don't do it. Just keep with your breath. Like in an experiment, Usually we want to keep whatever is good and we want to give away whatever is not so good. Now we switch. It's to increase our courage to bear suffering calmly and with a reasonable mind, check if we can do something about it. And instead of aversion towards the suffering, we develop compassion and wisdom. Okay, then slowly, slowly you can let the person fade away. Wish them all the best from the bottom of your heart. May you be free from fear, pain, being harmed, being confused. And we can end the meditation. Okay. I'm sorry, I don't have the ping next to me, you know, the gong, because we did the Losang cleaning today. We took everything out, like, and cleaned everything in the gompa. So not everything is at its usual place. So the gong is over there. Okay, so how did that go? How did that feel? Because if it's okay with you, I am planning to kind of, you know, we do at the beginning, we do some shamatha meditation, and then every time we also do short tonglen so that you get used to it. And also we'll switch people. So at the moment we take people that is really easy to do, like children, your own children also you can do. That's the easiest. But then, you know, the goal is that you'll be able to do that for everybody. Absolutely everybody. But that's high goal. That's not easy. Yeah. Especially, you know, I think it comes especially easy when there's somebody that we really want to help or that we feel responsible for. Yeah. And the wish to help is there. So how did it go? Yes, my dears. Would you like to say something, Tom?
It felt peaceful and easy in a way. I did it for a friend of mine who's in some troubles at the moment.
Yeah.
And it felt good to be able in a way to alleviate his stress and bringing some of what I have in terms of relationship. Yeah.
Exactly. So the main point is that you don't have any expectation, you know, you not keep watching the other person. Oh, is it working? Is it working? Is it working? Because no, for that, because sometimes it does work actually. I've heard people say, I don't know what you did with me, but something really shifted. So I don't know, you know, could be coincidence or whatever. But and also when you know, don't forget to breathe out. If you start to feel really heavy and really dark and all this, then stop taking, just give, you know. When you feel too black and too, it means you're not giving properly. Or you haven't understood. You are taking it away from them, not for you to keep, but for them to be free from it. So that's totally different. Yeah. So we'll do, you know, for a few weeks, we'll do with somebody where it goes really easy so that you get the technique of it. And then slowly we go to more challenging people. If you want, again, you know, whatever I say, whatever we do together, also don't worry, you know, you don't have to accept anything, you don't have to do anything. This is just, if you want to do, these are methods, these are Buddhist methods. If you find them helpful, then you use them. If you don't find them helpful, then you don't use them. But when I say helpful, then you see, when we say helpful, in our mind, the thought comes that it should feel pleasant. This is like, you know, going to the doctor and hoping that it will be pleasant, or having medicine to take and hoping that it will be sweet. Sometimes it is sweet. You know, the chemical industry tries to make them sweet so that we swallow them, but sometimes they're not. Tibetan medicine, they don't even try, you know, it's bitter, it's disgusting, it smells bad. So, but we get used to it and then we take it, and because we see the benefit of it. So when I say Buddhist methods being beneficial or being helpful, it doesn't mean that you should feel better. It means that you have a better grip on your unhelpful emotions that one kind of identifies as, you know, confusion, attachment, greed, desire, aversion, anger, hate, jealousy, miserliness, arrogance. You know, these are the main ones that one identifies as not being beneficial. Why not being beneficial? Because nobody is very happy when we have them. You know, nobody is kind of, you don't get up in the morning and think, oh, I hope I'll get jealous today. Wow, that would be really such a, how to say, it will be a beautiful day if you get really jealous or really aggressive or you're really confused. We don't like to be confused. We like to be clear. So beneficial, it means beneficial in a way that we start to recognize these things, that we apply skillful antidotes, not antidotes that increase them, but antidotes that slowly make them a little bit weaker and weaker and weaker. And antidotes that then, you know, are beneficial in the sense of we have less suffering, and then finally we'll be liberated from suffering and the causes of suffering. So the goal is that, this is the goal. The goal is not for you to feel happy now, but when I say this, you don't have to be afraid. You will in general, I would say, and maybe some people can kind of confirm that, you will in general feel happier. It's a side effect, whether you want or not. But that should not be the motivation, because for that small motivation, just to feel happy now, because you will anyway not feel happy all the time, as long as we are confused about the nature of reality, whether you want or not. You know, you can be in Switzerland and we have a wonderful government and they're taking care of us, and, you know, I'm having a beautiful gompa and I'm very comfortable and all this. I also have moments of kind of being aggressive and angry and jealous and these kind of things. Yeah, so, or something is not right, or today my computer almost collapsed, actually. But I think it was the Buddhas, by the way, because I had totally forgotten that today is the 29th, and we usually do tea offering to the protectors at 5 o'clock. So 4:45, the computer starts to go totally crazy and starts to make noise, you know, like zzz, like this, and I couldn't shut it down. And I thought, oh my gosh. And then all of a sudden I thought, well, it's 5 o'clock, it's tea offering. So I think it's the Buddhas who kind of said, hey, what are you doing here? You know, go and make the tea for the protectors. I don't know, but maybe. Sometimes I have a feeling like this. Sometimes I really have a feeling that somebody that I don't perceive is looking after me, that I'm not doing too stupid things, or when I forget something, that they kind of remind me, kind of also pushing me a little bit. Sometimes they say these are the protectors. So since I forgot to give them, to make this tea offering, they thought, hey, where's our tea? Come on, you know. So then we did. I was ready at 5 o'clock. Okay, so this is when I say, you know, these methods are lead to this goal, for us to be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. So that's like a general Buddhist goal. Then a higher Buddhist goal is so that we are able, that our heart is open towards all sentient beings, that we are able to do that for everybody else as well. We are able to show them and to guide them to this state, because as a fully enlightened being, of course, you have many more skills than as an ordinary human being. And we can see with us, you know, when we dislike somebody, we're very reluctant of helping them, isn't it? It's really not easy helping somebody that you dislike, even if you could, even if it's a small thing. All of a sudden, we don't have time and all this. So again, you know, don't take it personally. If you're not like this, I'm the first one to rejoice. But I see it in me, how kind of, you know, I'm not cooperating with people that I dislike. So then I have to work with that dislike first and see the advantage of cooperating with them. And as what we did in Tonglen, you see, when we like somebody, everything becomes easy. And I can tell you, I mean, I like some people, they're not such wonderful, great people, but I just like them. Yeah, sometimes people even ask me, why do you like that person? I said, well, shouldn't I? I mean, I don't see why, but it's also karmic connections. So that's the goal. The goal is to have an open heart and to be ready to help in whatever way we can, but not burning out, whoever comes into our focus. Okay. And, you know, the discussion we had last time, I hope I didn't hurt your feelings too much. The discussion we had, then after the discussion, I thought, well, it's incredible how our ego-centered mind, mine included, is like a very good lawyer, has very good arguments, like the children, to keep these unhelpful emotions. But I need to have aggression or anger towards somebody in order to show them that they're making mistakes. We had exactly the same argument yesterday with the Swiss group. Somebody also said, but how will people notice that they're making mistakes if I'm not angry at them? You see, this is our defensive ego-based mind, who is afraid of letting go of these negative emotions, because if we don't examine, we see them as helpers, as our friends. Anger is protecting me. Yeah. So then there, you know, it's so easy. Just every time somebody is angry at you, check how, you know, when they point out the mistake that you made, and they say this with anger. And I'm not saying now, because now it seems not a problem. Now it seems, yeah, that's fine. You know, if somebody gets angry at me, then I'll be able to cope with it. I see it as my karma. I see the suffering of the other person. No, check and watch when you are in the situation, not by memory, but when you are there. How do I feel? Do I really feel that it's necessary for me to say this with anger? And I mean, this is the chapter on how to develop patience. So I assume, because you're listening to me, that you want to develop patience. Otherwise, why would you listen? Yeah. Otherwise, it's like, you know, somebody wants to learn to cook, I don't know, spaghettis, and they go to a Chinese cooking class, and then they constantly say, but I want to know how to cook spaghettis. Yeah. So it's so necessary also to see the disadvantage of these unhelpful or negative emotions, or the kleshas, you know. the mental poisons, we can call them, or the delusions, we can call them, that they totally create a picture of reality that is absolutely not true. So we talked about blame and praise and all this, yeah, last time also. And the homework, I think, was to look at our unlogical reaction when somebody is praised that we dislike, how we don't like it, and we want to say the opposite. But also here I wrote homework that I am human. I can't remember what exactly I meant. Maybe that we're not too harsh with ourselves, you know. We will get angry and we will get aggressive. It's not that I'm saying, or the Buddha is saying, you're not allowed to get angry. You're not allowed to get aggressive. All the Buddha is pointing out, but watch what happens when you are aggressive. And also then the Buddha's teachings, you are creating imprints, potentials on your mind stream that you will meet that situation that now makes you upset and angry again and again and again and again. And your tendency to become angry and upset and aggressive will increase and increase and increase and increase. And then it needs less and less and less for you to get angry. Yeah. Do you more or less understand that? Yeah. So when you listen to your ego-based mind who wants to defend itself about, I need anger and all this, try to bring another lawyer in, you know, the court cases. Yeah. Try to bring in another lawyer who has just as good arguments for not getting aggressive, and then see what you prefer. So you can, this is what Shantideva is doing in his verses. He's talking to himself. He's talking to his ego-based mind and giving that ego-based mind lots of good angles to look at things. Did anybody do the homework? Oh, right. I think I also said, or was that last time, try to praise somebody that you dislike. I think that's what it was, wasn't it? You know, see the difference, praising somebody that you like because you feel a lot of joy and you're really happy, and then try to praise somebody that you dislike. It's quite a cruel experiment, that one, because then it's like, poof, you know, we see our ego-centered mind. Did anybody do something like that, in that direction?
I want to say something.
Yes, my dear Netta.
It's funny because I didn't do it so much because with this Corona time, I see only patients and family and friends, so not much challenge. But I do feel many times that sometimes when someone is very, I'm annoyed by him or her, and I search for praises so I can calm down. I'm happy to find someone that likes him, and I ask them to tell me good things about the person because it makes me feel better in a way.
That's a good way. That's a good lawyer. That's a very good method, actually, because when we are disliking and angry, we can't see it. Yeah, but you need to want to see these positive sides, because otherwise, if somebody kind of, you know, without being, you not asking them, and you go like, oh, but the person is horrible and all this, somebody else comes and says, yeah, but they also have good sides and this and that. You don't want to hear it. You get even more angry. And you're trying to convince the other person of the negative sides of the person.
But for me, sometimes it hurts me. It's from egoistic motivation in a way, because when I really don't dislike someone, I'm angry every time that I see him. So I'm actively asking for praises. Please tell me why you like him, or to shed more light.
But this is good. This is good egoism. You know, this is what His Holiness says. If you want to be, selfish, then, you know, be more concerned about the happiness of others, because that will give you happiness. It's okay, you know. It's okay when we see, oh, this works. It makes me more relaxed. But it's also good for the other person. So that's fine. Yeah. Anybody else?
Can I
Yes.
say something, Anila?
Joyce, yeah, please do.
Yeah. I just want to share about the experience of my son, that the way that about the to be with somebody that you don't like, because there's the one thing that it's teach me since one has said that to me, because when he was young at 7 years old, he was in the psychologist of a Buddhist person in Herzliya, and they made meditation all the time. And there is one child, it's in the school that everybody doesn't like him. So I told him that my son like him so much. So I told him that, oh, why you like him? So he said, if everybody doesn't like him, so why I have to be too? I need to give him the comfort that I like him, that he's not gonna be alone. And since then, the way what you teach now, it's really reminds me, and it's really touched me, because I remember the words.
Yeah, well, you have a very courageous son.
Yeah.
Sometimes we want to, especially children, sometimes they want to be kind, but then you have the pressure of all the others that no, and then, wow, great, wonderful.
Yeah. And it touched me so much now. I really felt I can't imagine that it's gonna become to this practice tonight. It's amazing.
Nice,
Yeah.
thank you. Yeah.
Thank
This is
you.
how it should be, but sometimes we see this with ourselves also. We do like, like everybody else is against that person, and we very naturally, we don't want to be seen as somebody who likes the person, and we just, we don't even examine, what is it doing to the person? Because we all need to belong, and excluding somebody from a group, I mean, it's so painful, but we do it. So this is what I mean. We're just looking, we're just watching, and then by noticing it, then we do our best, and maybe we use some of these verses that can help us to change our attitude. And if we see only one verse that works, then we can always use that one. It's fine, or 2 or 3. We don't have to do all. I don't know how many verses are in the whole text. There's more than 1,000 probably. Yeah, and it's good to read them from time to time, because Shantideva's text is really like a manual that once you know where the problem is, you can go there and think, yeah, maybe this would be a good way, not to change the other person, but to change my attitude towards the situation. Yeah. Okay, so we can continue with the text, unless anybody else would like to say something, then just open your microphone, otherwise we continue. We were, I think we were here, and then this one. The joyous happiness of yours would be a source of joy, not something prohibited, a precept given by the excellent ones, and a supreme means for assembling others. Basically what he says, practicing patience, and then being able to be patient, but patient, not gritting your teeth and saying, I will not say anything. That's already better than to blurt it out. I'm not denying, but being totally relaxed in the situation. And for that, at the beginning of this chapter, we talked quite a bit about emptiness also. Yeah. But what he's saying here is that there are what is called the 4 joys of developing patience. So it is said in the text, again, it's another list in Buddhism. So maybe I can see you again. So the first one is it is pure, because patience doesn't harm anybody if it's real patience. If it's not just, oh, now I'm not doing anything, but then when I have the occasion, then I will do something. Or, you're not saying anything. Somebody is not nice to you, not saying anything, you're not retaliating, but then you go to another person and tell them how horrible that person is or whatever. It brings happiness, yeah, but in how to say, if you are forced to be patient because you don't have the power to do something, it doesn't bring happiness. if you choose to be patient, because that's your practice, and you see that you succeeded in not saying that nasty thing, and you succeeded in, for example, to really look for a quality of that person and actually mention it. Wow, you know, you are so kind, or wow, this you did really well. But be realistic, okay? Be careful with the praise. Don't be totally unrealistic. There's no point. Then it's being totally false. But then it brings happiness when you see, wow, I was able not to follow my aggression and my anger. And it would definitely brings happiness in the future, because you're not creating more, you know, you're not strengthening your tendency of getting aggression. Yeah. It is praised by all the Buddhas. You remember maybe at the beginning of this text, it says, patience is the greatest austerity. Practicing patience is the most difficult thing, because it goes so much against our habits. Yeah. And then you have people like Joyce's son, who seem to be born with this. So why is he born with this? Because he practiced it in past lives. Yeah. And then don't forget, whatever we practice now, even though maybe it seems that we have no results, but in the next life, it will come much easier, and people will be very surprised and say, oh, why are you so patient? But of course, we don't remember, we practiced it in past lives. And it's the perfect way to help others. Yeah. So Pema Churton says in her commentary, very often the satisfaction we gain is intentionally or unintentionally at the expense of others. We get the job, but we forget, if I get the job, somebody else did not get the job. So I am happy to get the job, but somebody is unhappy not to get the job, the same way as we would be unhappy not to get the job. So our happiness is more or less, it's not intentionally, but still, you know, this is samsara. So this is samsaric happiness, somebody else suffers. If we win the gold medal, others will cry because they lost. So it is not our malice or our fault. That's just the way it is in samsara. Even if we don't purposely step on others' toes, our happiness is very often not quite pure, because it depends on the defeat or loss of others. On the other hand, the practice of patience is not biased, because we practice with everybody. With people we love, it comes very easy because we're very tolerant. And also, we don't want to lose their friendship by being angry and criticizing all the time. Yeah. So everyone wins and no one loses on both sides. Practicing patience brings satisfaction. This is the second joy. It is, of course, not always a pure pleasure. Sometimes it is just a great relief that the burden of our anger is lightened. Just being able to take a break and relax instead of kicking back gradually brings about an unshakable sense of well-being. We discover that very few people provoke us and the world becomes friendlier. The third joy is that patience is extolled by the Buddhas, means that it brings us closer to our Buddha nature. You know, the Buddhas have total patience, they never get angry. So when we are practicing this, then we become a bit like a Buddha, our fundamental goodness. The fourth joy is that patience enables us to communicate reasonably, because when you're angry, what you're saying is not the total truth. Yeah, and it hurts. It hurts others, you know, or they laugh at you. If they have more power than you and you become angry at them, they laugh at you. They think you're ridiculous. It allows us to be heard, making it the perfect way to attract others. So again, you know, this can be the homework. When somebody is angry at you and tries to reason with you why they're angry or whatever, just check your readiness of listening to them. How ready am I to listen to that person? Maybe as a spiritual practitioner you are. But then look at other people, you know, people who are not doing spiritual practices. How ready are they to listen to you when you are angry? Yeah. In other words, what we mean, it works because nobody feels threatened or accused. If we enjoy the qualities of others, we create the cause that we will also have the good qualities in the future. This is psychological. If we criticize the good qualities of somebody else, or if we dislike them, then subconsciously we think it's not good to have these qualities, and then we will not be able to get them. Whereas if we praise them, or if we rejoice, if we have joy, then we will be able to get these qualities in the future. This is a little bit kind of thinking about around two corners. Do you see what I mean? Yeah, this is quite very subtle and subconscious. Yeah. So compassion is the simplest practice, can be done lying down, it can become a habit. Joy has causes. So you see, we all want to have joy in our life, isn't it? That's why always at the end of the talk, we kind of generate this wish, may we be able to live our life with joy and ease. There would be so many occasions where we could be joyful. So the wise people, they take these occasions and they rejoice when they see some goodness in other people or qualities or whatever. But because of our aversion and jealousy and low self-esteem, yeah, we miss out on these joys that rejoicing is so easy. You don't have to do anything because we're rejoicing about the quality of somebody else. So that's quite good. So, but joy has causes. It doesn't come just like this, you know. So, for example, gratitude is a source for joy. Gratitude is a cause for joy. Yeah. Ethical behavior, if you choose it, is a cause for joy. Coming home in the evening and thinking, oh, wow, today I didn't harm anybody. Yeah. Generosity is a cause for joy when you do it voluntarily. Again, if you're forced into giving something, or if you're frightened that you're giving too much or like this, then it's not joyful. That's for sure. Love, bodhicitta, and humor, being able to laugh about your own shortcomings. This is very important, you know. If you're kind of a little bit serene and you're not freaking out about every mistake that you're making, you become much lighter, and then you have humor and you can laugh about your own shortcomings. And sometimes we are a little bit afraid to do that because then we think we are starting to neglect our shortcomings. But it's totally the opposite, especially if you are a spiritual practitioner. Now, I don't know about people who don't do any spiritual practices, but people who watch their mind, and people who really want to develop love, compassion, and wisdom, you know, if we are too tight on our shortcomings, if we're too strict with ourselves, we will just develop more aversion and more low self-esteem, and we get further and further away from our Buddha nature. Yeah. If we start to concentrate on the qualities that we have, if we start to concentrate on the good things that we are doing, then we can develop them. Don't be afraid that you start to neglect your negative sides if you start to be able to laugh about them. What do you think? Do you have an opinion on this? Because again, don't forget, this discussion group, this is not a teaching.
I can say
yes,
that I feel that Tonglen, the meditation, is a helpful way to be light with your shortcomings, because it connects you to the fact that shortcoming is human, is so human, and everyone suffers, and you too, inside and the outside. And this, I think it helps to take it lighter and to see it. At the same time, you look at it and you are part of humankind. So So
yeah, it's very good observation, I think, and I totally agree. Because this is also, now there's a lot of talk about self-compassion, which I think is really good and is really necessary. But this is exactly that. It's like the first step in self-compassion is mindfulness. You have the ability to see that you are not well, but you are not becoming your pain. So with mindfulness, you notice something is not right. Something is really difficult. And you admit it, Don't, again, when you become like these verses by Shantideva, don't apply them too quickly, because then very often people think they shouldn't feel the pain. Something wrong. I feel pain, but I'm a bodhisattva, but I shouldn't feel pain. I shouldn't feel anger. That's wrong. This is, we are human. So as long as we haven't realized an absence or a lack of a self or a me or an I, we will have these these reactions and these emotions. But we are not carried away by it. We don't identify by it because we watch them and we acknowledge them. And then it's the step that Yael was saying. We're thinking, oh, but I'm not the only one. So in self-compassion, they call this shared humanity. Okay? And then the next step is in self-compassion, okay, what is it that I need right now? Not tomorrow, not in 10 years, now. Or by whom could I be helped? And when you do Tonglen, because you're giving everything that is needed in that moment, so you are exactly in that mind, although you give it to the other, but we all know, but giving increases joy. So then again, it's as if you are giving to yourself what you are actually giving to the other. And you all know that with Tonglen, you can take yourself, you can take your future self. I think we did that at the beginning when we started with the Tonglen a few weeks ago. Yeah. So actually, it's the first time that it's good that you say that. It's the first time that I see this technique of self-compassion and the technique of Tonglen is very, very, very similar. Because of what do I need right now? Because we have to think, what do I need? And then freely we're giving it to ourselves. And then again, be realistic. If you say, well, I need $1 million, it's a bit difficult. Where should it come from? But what we really need, what is of help, is how, mental attitudes, how to be in that situation. Courage, joy, openness, wisdom, love, compassion. Yeah. And love and compassion are sensations. We can feel them. So we give it to ourselves. Yeah.
And also when you meet the rock inside, so you meet your shortcomings in a light way, because you have them and the person that you give them light have them. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So this is this whole thing about shared humanity. And I don't know if you listen to the Dalai Lama sometimes in the morning, or you can watch it on YouTube. He again and again and again and again, he talks about this. We cannot allow ourselves anymore to have this attitude, me and them. We are all sharing the same planet. So if we are careless, somebody else also kind of suffers. If they are careless, we suffer. So if we see ourselves as us, then also we don't feel lonely, we're not depressed and things like that, because we see, well, I'm not the only one. And then my own problem becomes much smaller when we see that, other people have much bigger problems. Yeah. Okay. Or anybody else would like to share a little bit?
I want to say something.
Joy of patience. Yeah.
I see many times in psychotherapy and in generally that people don't want to give up this part of them that criticizing themselves, because they feel, and now you described it so nice, that you are aware of your qualities, so you're making a connection to it stronger. but they don't want to give up because they really, really, really feel that this is good for them, that without that, they won't make progress in life. They won't push themselves to do things. And I know it's wrong, but now you tell, it's something that it's not being giving up easily at all. The self-criticism as pushing, as helpful, like there's no other thing that will make the people move.
Yeah, I know. And as you say, this is just a habit. And maybe also we heard it when we were kids, you know, pull yourself together, make more effort, blah, blah, and all this. And we carry around with us this attitude, not good enough. You know, and it's such a big habit because we're not growing up with the thought or with the view that actually at the bottom we are pure. Yeah. That everything we need is already there inside of our mind, but it's covered. So we're not growing up with that. We grow up, you know, always becoming better and more. And then we have this very competitive mind. And this is why also, you know, at the beginning, it was like, what was it? Good self-esteem. Now also psychology they're trying to build up a good self-esteem. But now also psychology, they have discovered this it's not working because self-esteem only comes comparing yourself with somebody else that is lower than you are. Very often, you know, it's based on other people's views. It's based on success. It's based on this and that. And that's why, you know, more and more they change to self-compassion. Yeah. And, you know, it's really strange how we can do that very well with somebody that we like. When somebody feels low that we like, when somebody is, you know, frightened, depressed, or, well, I'm no good, what do? We tell them, yeah, you're really no good. You have to become better. Come on, pull yourself together. Do we do this? No. So why do we do it with ourselves? It's a very interesting question. You know, we're so intelligent. We have so many diplomas. We have studied so many things. When it comes down to how to take care of our mental hygiene, mental health, even though we know the methods intellectually, very often we're still not able to use them. Isn't that interesting? You know, when it comes, this is why I'm saying, and this is, I think, where we have to be careful. We are not using the methods in the situation itself. We are using them when we listen to teachings, when we feel relaxed, when we feel well, and then we think that we are able to do it. And we're not experiencing the whole thing. But Buddhism is an experiential vehicle. You have to watch your mind when you are angry, not remembering when you're angry. This is not it, because, you know, the memory of anger is much weaker than the anger itself. The memory of anger already sees much clearer what happened. But the anger itself, then, whoa, you know, it's this big filter. So a bit like this. But yeah, I mean, this is, so then if people cannot do it to themselves by seeing their quality, because then we also think we become arrogant, and, you know, people will dislike us because we're showing off and all this. We don't have to tell other people our qualities. They will see them themselves. But it's so soothing, and it is so, it's so healing just to tell somebody, wow, you're so kind. You know, the other day I was on the telephone. Of course, I had to wait with the taxis for somebody else. Who is not in Switzerland, but it was complicated, the whole thing. So you know how it is. You have to wait half an hour until somebody takes the phone. But I knew, so then I was prepared, and I was doing other things while it was going, you know, all our people are occupied, please stay in the line, blah, 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 blah. And so when she came, she was so helpful. So, you know, not being patient, in this half hour that I waited, I can build up a lot of aggression, and then that aggression goes to this person who wants to help me. Yeah, and then they get all the shit, and then, you know, she really tried to help me, and she's very kind, and it just came very naturally. Said, "Oh wow, you're so kind." And I tell you, she was so moved, and she was so touched. Yeah, then I thought, like, wow, it's so easy. It is so easy, and it made me feel good. So, you know, and I didn't tell her that because I wanted something from her, because she had already given me what I wanted. So, like, so this is how then one starts to use these methods. So it's really good for us also to start in a realistic way to point it out to people that they are good people. It is very important. Okay, shall we do another verse maybe? You don't see the text yet, isn't it?
Maybe I just want to share something. Can
Yes, Laura. Go ahead.
At the moment with a cancer patient, a very, very intelligent, nice woman, and she says again and again that she understands everything intellectually and she cannot change the way she behaves to herself, others. And sometimes I really don't know what to say. I just say, yeah, it's hard work to change habits.
Yeah.
That's it. But she suffers so much from seeing, understanding, and not being able to change.
Yeah, this is the misunderstanding, thinking that if we know it intellectually, it should work. This is why I'm saying you have to apply these methods in the situation, slowly, yeah, and without any expectations. And this is why they always say we have to bring it from the head to the heart. How? By thinking about it again and again and again and again until it goes ploop, and then we got it. Yeah. So it's just habit. And this is why when they say in order to change the mind, you need to listen to the teachings. You need to think about the teachings and think whether they work for you, whether they, whether your views and your attitudes, what you want to be, and the teachings are like this and not like that. Yeah. Like if you have a mind and we say, but I need to be aggressive with people to tell them when they make mistakes, then we will never develop patience because we're afraid of letting go of the anger. It's like fire and water. You cannot mix patience and aggression. It's impossible. They're totally opposite. Because patience is a mind who doesn't want to harm at all costs, even if you could or you feel justified. Yeah. Anger is a mind who wants to harm. So then we have to see whether this suits my attitude, suits what I feel deep inside, and then we have to meditate on it. Sit down and then again and again, watch, observe. How do I think when I'm angry? How do I feel when I'm not angry, when I react like this and this? And then also, even if it, if the Dalai Lama says, if in my whole 84 years, or 86 years now, I can't remember, I was able to just give a short moment of happiness to one person, my life was meaningful. So if he says that, I can say this as well. We want too much. But I think, what is helpful in such, she suffers so much is in these moments is like, maybe to think about somebody else that she likes and to think, oh, may they not go through this suffering. If she cannot develop compassion for herself, but just has like aversion, that you give her one person that she respects, that she likes, and then opens her heart and says, oh, wow, may they never have to go through such pain and through so much suffering. That works quite well sometimes, because again, comes down to what Yael was saying, the shared humanity. I'm not the only one, and it's compassion. Or also to accept that it doesn't work. Again, this is it, to relax. Yeah, it's difficult. Sometimes just that, to tell people, yes, this is really shit, and it's really difficult, and it's so terrible that this is so difficult, but it is difficult. So that we honor the whole thing, and we don't think that we have failed because we're not able to do this, okay? And just to be with the person, you know all this yourself, Leora, I don't have to tell you these things, but just to have the courage to bear the suffering of that woman who is not able to transform it, and to be there, to listen, to be
What
there.
I found is sometimes helpful, and I did it with this woman as well, is suggesting her to think, what would you say to someone that would what you tell me?
Yeah, exactly.
It's easier to tell it to somebody else.
Yeah, that's very good. Yeah.
And I told her that to do it with her daughter, that she spoke a lot about relations with her, and she has good relations. And this worked quite well.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. This is why I'm saying, we should encourage people to see their positive sides the same way that we do it with other people that we like. When somebody feels depressed, we tell them, yeah, okay, this is one side, but then also this and this. And there again, if somebody is depressed, this doesn't work. So be careful, But when they're not depressed, to tell them how wonderful they are, because when they're depressed, they won't believe it. So they're doing everything to prove to you that they're not kind. So then again, the lawyer comes in, the ego lawyer comes in. And you know how lawyers are. It's good that Leora Kenneth is not listening. You know how lawyers are. They are paid by their clients. So whether they're saying the truth or not, they have to win the case. So our ego lawyer is a little bit like this, So you have to take in the wisdom lawyer and say, hey, come on, okay. Also, what helps me sometimes when I get a bit low about, again, I got aggressive and all this, then I think like, well, excuse me, did you want to become aggressive? Did you encourage yourself to become aggressive? I say, no, I don't enjoy it. So then also that, the kind of the tenseness of not being able to react in an appropriate way goes. And then next time I meet the person, I'm more relaxed sometimes also. Yeah.
Maybe also there is in English, there are two different words that I heard how we can talk to ourselves. We can say our shortcomings are weaknesses, or we can say they are vulnerabilities.
Vulnerabilities, yeah, exactly, yeah.
So, and also it's like with anger, we try instead of anger, sometimes to put boundaries in a respectful way, with no wish to harm, and to be respectful to the other and to ourselves. So the same when the anger is inside, we want to be like in equanimity, or like more soft.
Yeah, exactly. Setting boundaries is okay, nobody says you shouldn't set boundaries, but not when you're angry, because then you exaggerate again. Set them. Sometimes also it's helpful to tell the person, look, now what you just said is really hurtful. So I think we leave it for the moment, and then we talk about it when I feel a bit better. Amongst ordained people, we have a very good rule. It's like when you need to say something unpleasant, like criticism to somebody else, first you ask them, is it okay I tell you something now? And if the person says no, you can't say. This is a very good rule. Unfortunately, we're not applying it very often. But this would be one of the vows.
But I find that I sometimes that I try to use it, and sometimes somebody asks me, can I say something? I say, of course, because I'm curious, but then I don't like it.
Yeah, of course, it's okay. But at least you see, the thing is, when you invite it, okay, you don't like it, that's normal, but it doesn't hurt you. And you're not getting defensive because the person asked. Yeah.
A little.
What I meant was that sometimes with anger, if it's outside or inside, we go from black to white. We can go from aggressive to passivity. And being more soft is the assertiveness, is the equanimity, is the vulnerabilities. We forget there is a middle way. That's what I was.
Exactly. Yeah, this, you know, this whole thing about vulnerability and all this is Brené Brown, who gives beautiful talks and beautiful books on that, you know. I think one of the first books that she wrote was like, I thought I was the only one, you know, it's low self-esteem and never good enough and always checking, you know, what do other people think of me and all that is like, we have no control what other people think of us, you know, it's like last time we had this question from somebody where she said, yeah, well, what about privacy? Well, if people have a bad opinion about you and people find something and then they tell it to others, again, we have a choice. We can be very hurt, but we can see it, well, you know, the boomerang coming back, because we do that sometimes with others also. And then to really make the decision to be more careful. Okay, my dear, so we did one verse, I think, so that's verse 77, yeah, and then we do some loving kindness again. Again, we didn't get very far, but that's okay. Let's look at the verse again and then see if we can do, okay, so that was like these 4 joys, yeah, the joyous happiness of yours would be a source of joy, not something prohibited, yeah, so when we practice patience, if we do it voluntarily and we see that we succeed, same way, you know, when we succeed, we're happy. A precept given by the Excellent One. So then you think about your master and you think, wow, anyway, my master is always there. So, wow, this is exactly what would make him happy if I act like this. Not to make him happy so that he likes you, but just because you want to make him happy. And a supreme means for assembling others. If I have made a promise to be of benefit to all sentient beings and I get angry at them, I mean, what kind of, how am I keeping that promise? Okay. So whenever you succeed in practicing patience, then you think about, wow, this was really good. You praise yourself. Okay. That's the homework, praising yourself. And then you break a Bodhisattva vow, isn't it? That's the first Bodhisattva vow. It's like praising yourself and denigrating others. So you're not denigrating others, you're just praising yourself, and you're not saying it to other people, you're just saying it to yourself. I am a good person, I practice patience, and lo and behold, I succeeded. So take small objects, small situations, not the biggest one. Okay? And then experience how it feels not to react with aggression, anger, criticizing somebody or whatever. Does that seem feasible? Yeah? Yes? No? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Good. So the joys of compassion, of patience, which is the biggest austerity. So we just, for a few minutes, we just sit again and we dedicate or we share all the good energy that we have created, thinking, you know, I'm not doing that just for myself, but also for myself. Again, when we say I'm not doing that just for myself, it doesn't mean you don't do it for yourself at all. We are doing it for ourselves. And then again, we generate loving kindness. It's so soothing, it's so healing, it's so simple. May I be safe. May I be protected from physical and mental harm, and may I be protected from my own anger. Not expecting too much, that all this should work immediately. Trying is good enough. May I be able to be satisfied by understanding that I am trying to be patient. That means already now, even I don't succeed, but already now I'm a good person because I'm trying, I'm practicing to be patient. This is definitely good enough. Just let that sink in. You know, don't go about this I can do, this I cannot do. I am a good person. Don't be too humble there. This is our nature. Goodness is our nature. What can we lose if we believe in it? And then we think of all these other people. What do I want to do with my goodness? May I be able to share my goodness with other beings so that they also can discover their own goodness, their courage, their patience, their generosity, their love, their compassion, their wisdom. May whoever thinks of me, whoever sees me, whoever talks about me or talks to me, whoever hears me, may it only be of benefit to them. In what way? So that we can all be liberated from being under the control of these unhelpful attitudes and emotions. And we can all live our potential of effortless joy and ease, like the Buddhas. Okay, well, thank you very much. Sorry, I still don't have the gong. I'll have it next time. Have a good week. And yeah, have a good week praising yourself in a realistic way. You know?
Thank you very much.
And not be too harsh on yourself when you don't succeed. Don't forget, the practice is training, practicing, not succeeding, just practicing. That's why it's called practice. It's not called doing. It's not called succeeding. It's called practicing. So it's good enough. All right. Thank you. And maybe see you next week. Please take care. And Losar Tashidele, by the way, if you want, what we are doing on Losar morning at 6 o'clock here in Switzerland is 7 o'clock in Israel. We said we'll do it in English because the French speaking people also will participate. They don't speak German, but some of them speak English. So we do tea offering to the protectors and Lama Chöpa with Zoe. It's a good way to start the year. So if you have time, if you would like to, it's on Friday. You're very, very, very welcome to participate. Again, it's rituals, so you don't need to understand anything. Most of it is chanted in Tibetan. But just the joy of chanting something that you have no clue what you're chanting is quite nice. It's good to go against the ego who always wants to know what it's doing, you know, and the innocence of chanting something, you have no clue what you're chanting. It's quite nice actually to be able to do that. So if you would like to, I think in the Dharma Friends, the link is on the website. Irit put it on the website.
It is.
Okay, good. So maybe see you in 2 days at your time, 7 o'clock in the morning, our time 6. Okay.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you.
Have a nice
Thank
evening.
you very
Bye.
much.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
תודה רבה לכולם, להתראות.
לילה טוב, להתראות.
Ciao.